US President Donald Trump has signed tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China.
You know, banks aren't allowed to do business in Canada. Canada is very tough. Canada is very, we're not treated well by Canada, and we have to be treated well.
The Prime Minister of Canada has announced that the U.S. is suspending the imposition of tariffs on Ottawa for at least 30 days.
Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into one of the biggest economic stories in North America, the growing tensions between the US and Canada. Are we really heading toward an $800 billion trade war? Can these two neighboring giants afford to go to war over trade? Let's break it down, starting with the big picture. Segment 1, US imports worth $107 billion. First things first, Trump recently imposed a 25% tariff on Canadian goods. We're talking about things like steel, aluminum, and even automobiles. And Canada didn't just sit back.
Like the American tariffs, our response will also be far-reaching and include everyday items such as American beer, wine, and bourbon, fruits and fruit juices, including orange juice, along with vegetables, perfume, clothing, and shoes. It'll include major consumer products like household appliances, furniture, and sports equipment, and materials like lumber and plastics, along with much, much more.
Segment 2, the $400 billion US-Canada trade relationship. So how big is this trade deal? Well, in 2024, the US imported over $400 billion worth of goods from Canada. That's everything from oil to auto parts. They're huge players in each other's economies.
I am saying to President Trump, stop these tariffs. You campaigned on lowering prices. You campaigned on this wallet. But your tariffs will have more money come out of this wallet for so many goods and services, for food, for clothing, for cars.
The trade relationship is more than just numbers. It's about industries, jobs, and the daily goods that consumers rely on. Imagine paying more for your car or even your morning coffee. Segment 3, higher prices and job losses. What's at stake? Economists are predicting that these tariffs could cause some serious economic headaches.
I think most people do see Trump using these tariffs as a bargaining tool. He wants something out of Canada and Mexico.
For starters, the Tax Foundation says these tariffs could reduce US GDP by 0.4%, and we could see 330,000 job losses in the US. That's a huge impact. Higher prices for groceries, clothes, even electronics. That's what consumers face when tariffs get out of hand. Segment 4, the ripple effect across the world. So what's the global impact? A trade war between the US and Canada would not just hurt the two countries. It could spark a global slowdown. A supply chain that relies on these two nations could get disrupted, affecting economies worldwide. And no one wants that. Trade wars can cause more than just higher prices. They can also trigger global economic instability. And that, my friends, is something we should all worry about. Segment 5, can negotiations save the day? So can this trade war be avoided? Absolutely. It's not too late to fix things. Both the US and Canada need to come back to the table and negotiate a fair deal.
I also spoke with Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada, and we had a good talk in the morning, but I did ask him a couple of questions like, banks aren't allowed to do business in Canada. Canada is very tough. Canada is very, we're not treated well by Canada, and we have to be treated well.
At the end of the day, the world needs the US and Canada to collaborate, not compete. If they can find common ground, we'll avoid the worst case scenario. Conclusion, the future of US-Canada relations. So is a trade war inevitable? The answer is no, not yet. But if both countries fail to resolve their differences, we could be looking at some serious economic consequences. Let's hope diplomacy wins out and that cooler heads prevail. A trade war would hurt both nations, and no one benefits from a global economic slowdown. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Stay tuned for more business updates that matter to you. See you next time.